For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
This is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We begin hour number 2. It is VSiN By The Books. I'm Dave Ross here, Circus Sports, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Our closer, he's got a plane on standby from Cleveland to Athens. Jensen Lewis joins us as always. Jensen, how quick is that turnaround for you, man? I mean, like right when we get done, are you out of here?
Yeah, I'll pack up some of the stage lights here and my ears, and then just throw that in the bag. It's not bad, about 20-minute drive down to the airport here. So,
and you've already packed.
We're flying out we're flying right time of the day, just straight shot down to ATL. So pick up the car, a little scenic drive, about an hour and a half into Athens there. So nice little afternoon at Home Depot, as they would say in old school. So good one this afternoon. Can't wait to get in there and get everything all fired up for Friday afternoon.
Awesome. We've got Paul Caponigri. He's going to join us here in hour number 2 to talk all things Stanley Cup playoffs here. Do we have any live dogs here down 3-1? We'll talk with Paul about that. But without further ado, hour number 2, it's time for our highlights and headlines.
Help your bottom line with today's highlights and headlines.
It was rather historic yesterday for Tyrese Haliburton. Absolutely masterful. Almost had a triple-double before halftime, and then just puts up one of those all-time type performances, Jensen, that, you tell me, 32, 12, and 15, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, and no turnovers. In this Game 4 win as they push the Knicks to the brink of elimination. Again, it's not necessarily to put it in historical context, but when you don't have a turnover and you're as dominant, and we talked about it yesterday, letting the game, yes, he forced the issue. You mentioned he was going to push tempo, and he did all of that, but to do it under control, it never felt forced. Even though he was forcing, it never felt like it was out of the realm of what he does and what they do, being the Pacers. That 9-point win, Jensen, now with a commanding 3-1 lead.
A couple of logo threes too, right? And so 5 of 12 from 5 of 12. Very Steph Curry-esque. The other note here, Evan Abrams posting on social media too. First 30-plus point, 15-plus assist with 0 turnover playoff game in the last 40 years.
Wow.
And then that's before you add in the icing on the cake, which is the triple-double. Again, it bears repeating, Dave. We told people a couple weeks ago, if you think the Pacers' magical run continues, then you hop on a Haliburton Finals MVP future as well if you're just going to roll over the series price, because we felt the Pacers would be dogs not only in this series but also in whatever matchup they would have between the Thunder and the Timberwolves. So if you have those in pocket, congratulations. You're in a fabulous spot. Not over yet. You got to have the Knicks. They'll be in a corner. They'll come out swinging. So anxious to see what they will do in Game 5 as well.
Knicks are now 25-1 to win the NBA championship. And I think after they beat Boston, they celebrated like they had won the title. You haven't. By the way, Timberwolves tonight will try to stave off elimination. They're 45-1 to come back from a 1-3 deficit and then somehow win the NBA final. How about Edmonton? I know Toronto, with them being eliminated here, ironically against Florida, it could be a rematch in the Stanley Cup Finals if everything holds now. Stuart Skinner was dominant again. Jake Ottinger was very good in defeat, but not good enough offensively. The fact that they can't beat Stuart Skinner 4-1 final last night, but really 2-1 late, 2 empty netters for Edmonton to make this a little bit more lopsided. But they do have that 3-1 lead. I did not think at this juncture we'd be saying, boy, the Stars can't beat Skinner, and yet Edmonton can do just enough to get through Ottinger.
From the great Jonathan Davis, Stuart Skinner, 13-1 in his last 14 in games 4 through 7. 2 goals or fewer in 12 to 13 wins. His only loss was a 2-1 defeat to Florida in Game 7 last year. So it gives you an idea of the dominant run that Stuart Skinner is on from Game 4 and on.
All we'll say is, if you think Dallas is still alive, Jake Ottinger's 50-1 to win the Conn Smythe. Like, this would be the time. Don't worry about Dallas winning the Cup. Play Jake Ottinger at 50-1 if you really think they're still alive. Remember, if there's a Game 7, it would be back in Dallas. The problem, they'd have to win a Game 6 north of the border in Edmonton. All right, America, I have a very simple question for you on this Wednesday. Can you handle the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Can you handle the truth? Here's Dave Ross.
The truth of the matter is, America, when you have the Golden Bear running media cover for one Rory McIlroy, something is wrong in the golf world. And Jensen Lewis, I'm not exactly sure what it is. Now, look, here's what I'm getting to. Rory McIlroy, if you want to look at the odds boards for the Memorial this week in Dublin, Ohio, Jensen's neck of the woods, you're not going to find Rory on your odds board. Why? Because he's MIA. He's not playing Jack's tournament this week. And you go, well, that's interesting. Why wouldn't you play in front of the living legend that is Jack Nicklaus at this point? You and I talked about it earlier this week. We thought, well, this is just conspicuous by his absence. Well, is this a pattern for Rory? Go back to last year's U.S. Open. He loses to Bryson DeChambeau, gets his heart ripped out for the whole world to see. Does he stick around and shake the hands of Bryson like Bryson did for Scotty, like Bryson did when he played with Rory? No. Got on a jet, got the you-know-what out of Dodge, and we didn't see Rory again until he got to the Open Championship last year. Fast forward to this year. Everybody, and I do mean everybody, Rory. If he wins at Augusta, we've all got to root for him to get over the line. It'll be great for the game of golf, and we're all going to be rooting for Rory. I fell into that as well. I caught myself rooting for Rory as a second betting choice there. I didn't win $1 on that when he beat Justin Rose in that wild playoff, one-hole playoff, but what a down the stretch it was. And yes, all of us in the golf world, it felt like collectively, unless you had a ticket on Justin Rose, was rooting for Rory McIlroy. And then Rory comes out, does all the interviews, and then before the PGA Championship, we ran a little bit of the sound right here on VSiN By The Books, and you and I went, what's up with Roars? Something feels a little bit off. He's a little bit cantankerous. This is a guy that's been celebrated. All we've done for the last month is prop up one Rory McIlroy, the face of golf. That's Scotty Scheffler. But we don't talk about that. It's Rory. That's all we talk about. Well, then this week, they had to ask Jack Nicklaus himself why Rory McIlroy is not in Dublin, Ohio. Here was Jack's answer.
Yeah, it surprised me, but guys have got schedules and got things they do, and I haven't talked to him for him to tell me why or why not. That's just his call. I made a lot of calls that I had to make when I played to play or not play, and sometimes it wasn't as popular as the people thought it was. But sometimes you have to make those calls. I don't hold anything against Rory for that. He did what he likes to play. I know he likes to play so many in a row. He likes to play the week before a U.S. Open, and so that's what he's doing. So, I really don't have a comment on it. It's very difficult. I mean, I'm a big Rory fan, always have been, and I'm sure that will remain that way.
It's Jack Nicklaus. It's the Golden Bear. It's 18 major championships. It's the GOAT. You can ask Tiger Woods. He'll tell you Jack's the GOAT. It's an honor to play at his place at Memorial and to not have the common courtesy to pick up a telephone in this day and age, your cell phone that's with you at all times, everybody in the world, and call Jack, and Jack has to go do that for you. I don't know why he's here. This is very difficult for me. You could tell that he's trying to run cover for Rory, and yet even Jack was searching for words because he doesn't know either. Jensen, I'm with Jack. I want to root for Rory. I have rooted for Rory. The whole world's rooted for Rory. This is a bad look. It comes on the heels of the driver that was non-conforming at the PGA Championship, and then he doesn't talk to the media for 4 days. I don't know what's going on, but there is a level of respect in the sports world. And one day, Jack's not going to be with us, and you're not going to have the opportunity to go shake his hand and play at his tournament. And then it's going to be Tiger Woods that we're going to be having this conversation for decades to come with younger golfers that we might not even know about today. Jensen, that is a lack of respect to me, and I can let a lot of things slide, and the golf media lets a lot of things slide with Rory McIlroy. This is one that I can't let slide, and it does bother me, and I know Jack says it doesn't bother him, but do you read between the lines? Because I think it does.
I put a bow on it, and yeah, when you understand the hierarchy of the living legends, and especially in a sport that preaches etiquette and respect in its own right and doing things by the letter of the law. This one felt like a layup for Rory to just say, you know what, I'll come do this. And boy, you could have flown some cover too, because it being at Jack's place and all the big time players being there too. I told you it has the feel of a major because of the field and the topography of the course. And I think Rory could have assuaged a lot of this a lot of this emotion and negative kind of juju right now.
Yeah.
If he would have just shown up and said, hey, it's kind of been a rough week or so, but listen, what I'm focused on, this is one of the great tournaments we get to play in, and it's Jack's house. And then move the narrative that way. Whoever's doing his PR is either on vacation or they need to find some new employment. That's for sure.
One final note too. This is an elevated event. You know who was bitching and moaning about having elevated events like they have on Live Golf? Rory McIlroy. Who's skipping the elevated event? Rory McIlroy. Make it make sense and call the man. Call Jack and tell him why you're not going to be there. Drives me crazy. We'll get to Wiff Wednesday. That is coming up next here on VSiN By The Books.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books. Jensen Lewis, Dave Ross. Jensen, do we put Rory in the no-fly zone now for Oakmont at the U.S. Open next month? He's the second betting choice behind Scottie Scheffler.
We could, and I think a lot of that predicated off of how this week goes. And just kind of what the narrative is, especially with whoever wins.
Right.
Is where is the shift? Where is the focus? Is it, if it's not Scotty and, let's say finally it's Colin Morikawa or it's Victor Hovland, something like that, where it's, okay, that their narrative shifts. Or if Scotty does, win it, then it's this, okay, here it is, the best ever, or the best of our modern era up against Tiger. Now it's an ascent towards where his dominant is this another dominant run for Scottie Scheffler. I think he wants cover like no one's business right now again before Oakmont for sure.
Scotty plus 350 next month at the U.S. Open. Rory, if he shows up, 6-1. He'll show up for that. If you want to get in on the ponies, you can always bet at First Bet. They got you covered. Sign up now. You're going to get access to exclusive promotions. Bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races each and every day, right from your phone and or computer. Visit firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com. Use the promo code VSiN200. Score a 20% rebate on all of your wagers for the first 60 days. Up to $200. Do not miss out. Start betting today at firstbet.com. Let's get to it on this Wednesday and maybe some free air conditioning. What do you have for Wiff Wednesday to begin?
All right, so we're going to go up against a couple of pitchers and many, many more.
Ooh.
But many, many more. You get it? Okay, all right, I'll see myself out. Manny Machado, how about these numbers? Again, Sandy Alcantara, beginning of the year, we were thinking, Dave, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he gets traded. For you Marlins money line backers out there last night, oh, my God. Oh, that's a horrible loss to wake up to. Selfishly, I had the Padres money line. Or I'm sorry, I had the Padres run line. So, yeah, we had it all the way, right? Manny Machado, 6 for 9, all 6 singles against Sandy Alcantara. But, hey, he's seen the ball well. We jumped on Jose Altuve yesterday. Let's do it again today because good numbers against Luis Severino. He had 3 hits yesterday, 297 average, a double and a homer in his career against Luis. So let's just keep it simple again. Manny Machado, Jose Altuve to each record a hit. That parlay just a tick over even money on DraftKings here this morning.
Can I ask you to put on your GM hat here for a second in regards to Big Sev? Because I think a lot of people like yours truly were saying, why would Severino leave New York last year and go to the A's? I wanted to say Oakland, Sacramento, and play with the A's. Is this a guy that you're, now that the A's have become the A's again, that you're going to look to deal before the trade deadline? Movable piece?
In good faith, Dave, in a Lewis Ross administration, we would listen to all calls. We would understand what that market could potentially bear. You don't give out that contract unless you have a pretty good idea that that's a guy you want to help build as you move in through this transition. So again, they're going to be there for 2-3 years, but no, you and I would do our due diligence. We'd sit there and we would take the call. We would listen. We'd talk amongst our administration. We would see what's the best fit, short-term, long-term. No question they'll get calls. I would have some apprehension about them moving him at this point.
Speaking of, that kind of leads us into the next iteration here for Wiff Wednesday. What do you have?
Are we Wheeler?
There it is.
Are we wheeling and dealing? Wheeler and dealing? We should be, because Zach Wheeler, he's flying. This is hard to say. Guy's flying under the radar in the National League Cy Young race.
Wow.
Yet he is flat out dealing. Okay. Atlanta got him early this year. And so that's why I wanted to predicate it, like the good and the bad of the start, from earlier this year, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. But last year, utterly dominant against Atlanta. How about no walks and 20 strikeouts in 19 innings, 0.95 ERA? The Phillies win a close one last night, and I think they do the same again. Phillies to not bat. Joe Serralo special here. Phillies to not bat in the bottom of the ninth. Pretty good price here, minus $1.10. If you look at kind of where the money line is, and this is why we do this exercise, Dave, is sometimes you get a better price on that. And so make sure you shop around when you're looking for, where these iterations are. So it's minus $1.66 on the money line here for the Phillies. So pretty, significant, about 56-cent difference there if you believe the Phillies can get this done in regulation without batting in the bottom of the ninth.
He is 3-1, second betting choice right now behind Paul Skeens to win the Cy Young in the National League. We've talked a lot about the National League East a lot. Mets are playing better baseball again, but the Braves, we keep waiting for them to kind of wake up, and then they kind of go back into their slumber a little bit. Atlanta's back to 10-1. Phillies are odds on at $1.35, and the Metropolitans are plus $1.40. Would you rather play Wheeler at 3-1 to beat Skeens and win that award, or lay the $1.35 that Philadelphia is going to win this thing pillar to post here in the NL East?
I like the Wheeler angle there.
Yeah,
I really do. And again, all that correlated, right? If he wins the Cy Young, you'd have to envision. And I'll tell you what, his rotation mate, Jesus Luzardo, is having the best year thus far. And many circles right now, they took a poll of some of the voters and people that have a Cy Young vote. Right now, Jesus Luzardo, and remember Chris Bubich, who we talked about earlier in Daily Diamond this week, those are the two front runners in just a straw poll.
Really?
Of some of the voters. Isn't that shocking? Because Tarek Skubal, right, is right now is the betting favorite. But that's a fascinating angle, and that's why I brought it up. 27-1, you could have gotten Bubic at earlier this week when we brought him up. Again, and this is the early part. It's the early bias here, Dave. So I want to get that out there too. Luzardo, very much alive in this because he's got staying power. Does Bubic? We'll see. But it's a fabulous start. And then kind of cross-reference that with betting markets. So just something to file away for people as you look through it, and we get into the latter stage of this season.
I would wager Bubic right now at 30-1 and not think twice. But you know how I feel about these awards markets because they don't see what we see. They do not see what we see, and that drives me insane. One more to get to here on Wiff Wednesday, and it involves the big right-hander from Milwaukee.
Freddie Peralta. Freddie is feeling fine. Can I give you some startling numbers here? And again, you talk about flying under the radar. 5-day game starts, $1.84 ERA, 34 punchies and 29 in the third. More importantly, this day game comes at home where he's been utterly untouchable. 0.75 ERA in 4 starts, 25 punchies, I should say, in 24 innings. Let's go back to the well here like we did with the Phillies. Brewers to not bat in the bottom of the ninth is also minus $1.10. But let's also hang our hat on Freddie Peralta. Rarely do we go to these markets, Dave, but the numbers just add up. And the way that the Red Sox have struggled offensively, I think Freddie keeps it going. So let's go Freddie Peralta to record a win. This at plus $1.65 on DraftKings this morning.
Sox have a 1-0 lead going to the ninth yesterday in Milwaukee. You give up one, you go extras. You get them out in the 10th, and then all of a sudden it's Yelich with the bases juiced. You get a walk-off salami to win that thing 5-1 yesterday from Boston. Talk about some bad juju. Right now in Beantown, it is not going well. Always goes well for the guys at Sharp Plays, sharpplays.com. They're not going to chase the market. They're going to help move it in your direction. You're not going to have to outmuscle the billion-dollar sportsbooks, full-time professional bettors. Sharp Plays, don't worry about any of that. They've got cutting-edge AI, trusted insider sources. Sharp Plays are going to deliver the edge that serious bettors rely on. You're going to get free betting reports, real-time alerts, market-moving insights, all delivered right to you via email and or X. And it's not an overnight startup here. They've been around the block here since 2011. They got receipts, public logs, and results right there on the website. That's why they are respected, watched, and feared. The Sharp Plays. Check them out now at sharpplays.com. Speaking of baseball here a little bit, and, trying to figure out the Red Sox might drive you crazy. Trying to figure out the Reds. Hunter Green's going to be going today here against the Royals. And it is like the Al Pacino. Every time I'm out, they drag me back in, Jensen. Here I am back on the Reds here, trying to go for that sweep against the Royals. They're back to 500. You know that my bigger play of the fall here and leading up, obviously, winter into spring was the Reds over 78.5 wins. So I don't feel great about it because I never feel great about this baseball team. But with Green back, and De La Cruz with 2 bombs yesterday, can we start to look at the Reds and say, yeah, they might actually hit their stride?
They could. I don't think it's tonight.
Okay.
I do feel that the Royals, 2 official plays in pocket for VSiN Pro subscribers right now. Shop around. You can get plus money on Royals money line, I think, over at FanDuel. But I do like the under 7.5 here as well. I do get a good pitching matchup. Noah Cameron on the mound for the Royals. And as you mentioned, Hunter Green there for the Reds. It'll get there. They got to get this bullpen figured out.
Oh, man.
And if they do that, and again, it's been better. But I told you at the beginning of the year, the narrative is health in the rotation, effectiveness of the bullpen. The offense will be fine, I think. They'll get in a run here pretty soon.
You can go back and look already in April and May of the games they've given away by the bullpen.
Yes.
This team should easily be 5-6 games over 500, but right now they're at 500. Let's talk some puck. Paul Caponigri is going to join us next here. It's VSiN By The Books.
Tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books on this Wednesday edition. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis here with you. Always love catching up with Paul Caponigri. Joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. You can give Paul a follow, as I do, at Cappy27, and does a great job of the Big Ten breaking down puck. And Paul, as a fellow Paisan, I've butchered your name at least 3 times over the course.
It's Caponigri.
Will you take my Italian apology for not getting your name right all the time? I've nailed it today, but it's been dicey before.
Hey, you got to explain that to your people. I mean, your family. Like back in Jersey. I don't know. I've heard them all. Over the years, back when you used to answer your phone and get telemarketers, and they say your first name and then there's that hesitation, So you just at this point, hey, as a broadcaster, the guy that calls games, I go out of my way, but I still get names wrong, and
right.
So, it happens, and it's just something as you got to deal with your family, with your head down, and feel shame a little if you've seen Slapshot.
I know if my Uncle Mike is listening back in Jersey, I hope he is. He's probably like, come on, David, get this right. This is not that hard. Paul, what might be hard is for Carolina to stay in this series against Florida. We've seen it before. You'll go back to 1942. The Maple Leafs did it, down 0-3 to come back. I was shocked by what we saw the other night down there in Sunrise. And it's not so much that, Carolina wins their first Eastern Conference game in, 16 tries, but it's the manner in which they did it. Getting the shutout, 3-0. And they looked like, for at least a day, for 3 periods, they looked like the better team. Is there any carryover effect tonight in Raleigh to extend this series even further?
I think there could be. You've got to think at home they're going to get the energy. You like Freddie Anderson got the shutout, so he's got to be confident. And Florida's got some question marks with injuries. I mean, they keep adding up. Sam Reinhart's out. Mikkola was the best player on the ice the last couple games. He scored 2 goals in that game, and then he got, he ran into the boards and hurt his shoulder. There's only so much depth you can rely on if you're the Florida Panthers. So we'll see if they get any of those guys back. But Carolina's the underdog, right? I mean, I think that's kind of the play right now. But the defending champs aren't gonna, they're gonna bounce back. But I don't mind that play with Carolina being a home dog.
Paul, and again, just kind of where the trends have come in, our great friend Jonathan Davis, a couple of good nuggets, and interested in your thoughts about it. He put out there, just play the puck lines, the alternate puck line and the true puck line, because these Stanley Cup playoff games in both series, they haven't been close. 18 of the last 20 now, the winning team has covered by that puck line. And I would even gather here that Florida just kind of took a day off, if you will, the way that they looked and they played. It feel like a first period play here. Like Florida doesn't want Carolina to have any momentum whatsoever. Any thoughts on that, or just let's keep it simple here and see if Florida maybe a potential ladder of that puck line as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, because if you look at a lot of these games, if it's a 1-goal game late, I know you talked about first periods, but teams are pulling their goalies. They're aggressive with that. You saw it again last night, and so the empty netters are happening all over the place. So some of these games that are close are turning into 2-3 goal victories. I mean, the Florida side, who's been was mopping, for a while, but the empty net goals become prevalent, where it is a tight game, but then it looks, it's 2-1 game all game. Next thing you know, Edmonton wins 4-1 last night. So I don't mind that. The first period play, the weird thing has been the shots on goal. If you're kind of a prop bet kind of guy, the shots on goal have been really slow early in the game, and they've kind of picked up as it goes. So I don't know if, live betting action on that kind of stuff can happen. But puck line I like, because the empty net goals at the end of games have been happening quite a bit.
Paul, my high school motto when we graduated my senior year was dare to dream. So follow me here, dare to dream a little bit. If Carolina can make this historic comeback, they're plus 650 to win this series. But if they did that, Paul, why wouldn't they go the extra mile and win the whole damn thing at 18-1? Are either one of those numbers Is there value in either one of those numbers, or is it really just out of the realm of possibility?
I mean, I guess if you're going to do it, you go for the big one, because you go hard or go home, because, there's only 4 teams left, right? So the odds, you take that. I think you take that. The 650, go for the big one if you're going to do that. Go dream really hard, because if they somehow were to come back and win this series, they got all the momentum in the world. So you might as well go for the big one for the value and the price in that number.
Paul, let's talk a little Oilers and Stars here, because I think all of us thought that if Edmonton was listening to our show, they hung signs in the locker room for Stuart Skinner to think that game 1, 2, and 3 was actually game 4 and beyond. Well, he has woken up earlier in this series than we've seen in the past. The numbers just don't lie. Again, great Jonathan Davis. Skinner now 13-1 in his last 14 games when it's been games 4 through 7. And he's allowed 2 goals or fewer in 12 of the 13. To add a cherry on top, the Stars have never won a series when trailing 3-1. They're 0-16. Do we get a little bit of history, though, because Mikko Rantanen is on the other side, and the Stars of any team has shown that they can be as resilient as anybody?
Man, you sold it kind of, or you questioned it. You made it almost sound interesting there. I don't buy it. Like, if I'm looking at that line, I was looking earlier, and the Oilers were underdogs for next game. I'm like, get on that, because even that first game, it was wild. Like, Edmonton was dominating, and then all of a sudden Dallas had this great period, and it changed the series. I mean, changed that game, and they won. But the rest of, Dallas has played okay at times, but the Edmonton Oilers just look like they're in control of the series. And you talked about Skinner, those numbers. It's funny now he's the consistent guy all of a sudden, like he's the rock back there. So I don't know how you don't take Edmonton. If you are, here's another thing. If you're a guy, if you like player bet, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's got two points in every game in the series. It's not McDavid. It's not Draisaitl. It's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's got 2 points each game. So if you're going to bet on a player point bet, that's one you go with. But I love Edmonton right now. With even money, -110. I think you got to go with that, closing out the series.
All right, now, Paul, and Jensen knows this, I really do not like playing awards that have to be bet on by writers, because we have to get inside their heads and try to see if they're seeing the same thing we are. Now, you can play the Oilers to win the Cup here plus $1.05. You can play Connor McJesus to win the Conn Smythe at plus $1.60. Or you can play Leon Draisaitl at plus $6.50 to win the Conn Smythe. Jonathan Davis on our network has said he gave it out when it was 12-1. Will the voters do the right thing and give it to Draisaitl, who's been, can we say, objectively better than Connor so far in the entirety of the playoffs? Or is the narrative out there that it's got to be Connor if Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup?
Man, you got to go with the best player. But that's just me talking, right? Like, these writers, you can't predict what they're going to do, but Leon at this point deserves it. But it's not, the problem with that is, Connor's not far behind. It's not like dramatic. So if he has a great final, it's going to be recency bias, and you go with him. But by the number, if you wanted to obviously make a little more money, Leon Draisaitl's been fantastic, like you said. So that's what you go with. I just, you can't trust the writers. That's putting it nicely.
Paul, down there in Sarasota, have you gotten to the old Salty Dog yet to have a couple of pops and to take a look at the boats?
Not this time. I'm a veteran down here. This isn't like first time. I'm practically like a local now. So I'm trying to find. Right. No, I go to my what's the place I go? My Buckeye Bar.
Yes.
The Captain Ron. Well, I'm going to get killed for this if I don't get the name right.
Oh, there the shoes on the other foot.
It's a bar right down on the beach. They play all the Buckeye football games. That's my spot now that I'm a a half local guy down here. But it's weird. It's being down here. It's so hot, and then you're watching hockey. It's like it almost seems wrong.
Paul, enjoy it down there, my friend. That is awesome. Another Paisan down there in Florida. Give him a follow on X again at Cappy27 and does a great job covering the NHL. By the way, if you want to come out here to Las Vegas, you can do so. Paul, you should come out here because pretty good deal. Right here through September 4th, when you go to CircleLasVegas.com, $400 gets you 2 nights. It's going to include all those resort fees and taxes. Those are pricey. $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, day bed at Stadium Swim. Check it out now, CircleLasVegas.com.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
A lot of fun having Paul Caponigri join us in the last segment, talking all things Stanley Cup Finals. We're going to catch up with Wes Reynolds here in hour number 3 and Adam Burke. So talking some baseball and, of course, the Memorial with Wes. And I was just looking online here. Jack, as we ran a soundbite, and You Can't Handle the Truth from Jack Nicklaus, who's now 85, of course, as the tournament host in your neck of the woods. A report just came out in the Columbus Dispatch here, Jensen. Jack at 85 can still shoot his age. Can still shoot 85 out there on the course. I can't shoot 85, and I'm nowhere near 85. I'm like, I should never compare myself to the greatest golfer of all time. But how impressive is that at 85, he can still go out there and shoot an 85?
And again, it's why he's the greatest of all time. By the way, if you've never watched, and maybe we'll have to get the powers that be, make this a remote for next year at Jack's place. If you've never been there,
I've never been.
The topography of the course, Dave, you would love it because, first of all, wear your walking shoes. This is not the place for the faint of heart. The hills are ridiculous, and the scenery and the vantage points are so awesome. But it is one of those courses, and we'll talk with Wes about it. Jack is so about precision, shot, thinking through the shot, thinking ahead for the next shot. It's really cool with the different hole placements every round, how it really affects guys and how they attack the course. So just one of those unique venues, man. Jack's place forever, and hopefully he's here for many more years. But always a treat to see that Sunday afternoon when whoever wins shakes his hand, and the reverence of every one of those guys coming off. Very, very cool.
Had the good fortune of playing some of Jack's courses, but obviously never there in Dublin. Maybe we can do that road trip, Jensen, and then after they're done, we can sneak on there on a Monday or something like that. Let's get back to the NFL here. Of course, if you're going to be entering Survivor Leagues out here in Las Vegas, you need to get out here. Remember, you've got to physically sign up here before you can get to the proxy service, and we'll get to that in a second here. But we know that this is the biggest legal sports betting contest in the world that Derek Stevens operates. So when you look at the Giants and the Jets this year, let's start off with the Giants. How in the world do you look at this schedule, Jensen, and go, that's when I'm going to pick the Giants to win a game? Their win total is 5.5. It's juiced to the under, $1.30. They only won 3 games a year ago. And my goodness, did the schedule makers do them 0 favors. Look at the beginning of this schedule. At DC, at Dallas. Oh, then you get the Chiefs coming in prime time. And then you host the Chargers. And then maybe week 5 at New Orleans it lets up before a Thursday night tilt against your arch rivals down I-95 there in Philadelphia. I mean, Jensen, they are staring, 1-5 square in the face?
I would say if you're going to get anybody just because we know the unpredictability of week 1 and week 2, that they could be a survivor catalyst. And I would look at week 1. I would look at week 1 because they're going to be high. You get the most amount of time to prepare. All the focus is going to be on the shiny new toys for Jaden Daniels. Washington's that team this year, much like the Texans were last year. And if there was going to be a situation in which a team got overlooked, I think it would have to be week 1 with the Giants going to play the Commanders. All that being said, after that, I think the jig is up because they're not really going to surprise anybody. Or are they going to be an offense where you're like, okay, if it's Russell Wilson, we know where he's going on third down and Malik Neighbors. That to me is the predictability of the offense. And can they get creative enough to stick around with some of those offense? I mean, the first 4 weeks from an offensive standpoint, what they're going to have to try and contend, like thinking of the scoring, Dave,
right?
Can they score enough to stay with some of those potential offenses? I think that's the hardest one to look at. Now, all that being said, I would take the Giants plus the 7.
Yes.
I think I would take the Giants plus the 7 the first week. And just knowing how those week 1 games have the unpredictability factor, the 7 may not be around long, but if you're going to force me to pick that game, that's where I would go Giants plus 7.
I would echo those sentiments. I would say, too, that if you're all loading up on the Commanders week 1, I would be leery of that because that's going to be your best punch. You're exactly right. Brian Daboll's job is on the line. Joe Shane's job's on the line, right? They brought in Russell Wilson. They brought in Jameis Winston to redo that. They drafted Jackson Dart, right? Jackson Dart's not going to start week 1. And by the way, Russell Wilson last year in Pittsburgh went to D.C. and the Commanders in the midst of that great run, and they beat them 28-27 right there with Russell Wilson. So I would be very leery of that as a survivor play in week 1. But after that, I wouldn't be mad at you if you played the Cowboys in week 2 in Survivor in Dallas because, you want to save the Cowboys, you say, for Thanksgiving. Well, that's the Chiefs. So do you really want to save the Cowboys all the way for the Chiefs? Be my guest. But that might be a spot that you want to look at if you really want to fade the Giants early. What about the crosstown rivals? They play in the same stadium, by the way. The Jets. And, by the way, it's in Jersey, not New York. So now the Jets have got a new head coach, and Aaron Glenn comes over from Detroit. Aaron Rodgers is not walking through that door. Justin Fields is. 5-12 a year ago, not very good. 5.5 is a win total this year. Juice to the over, minus $1.60. That surprises me, the amount of juice that we're looking at for a six-win team. Now, when you finish in last, you kind of get that last place schedule. So you've got some non-divisional opponents. Let's say you got the Panthers. You've got the at Jacksonville down there in Duval in week 15. Yes, enter the division. Maybe the division's not as good past the Buffalo Bills. So, Jensen, do we see 6 wins for this team? Because I do think that feels a little bit lofty.
I love what I'm seeing from the Justin Fields videos because all fan bases want to dream at this time of year. And if there is any fan base that has great delusions of grandeur, it's a Jets fan base. And we appreciate all those people that tune into us every single day here on VSiN By The Books. This may be a difference maker, though, with the head coach and the toughness factor. Not to say that Robert Saleh didn't have that. This is a different edge, though, with Aaron Glenn. And I think he is fed up with, hearing about everyone else in the division, hearing all the crap about the Aaron Rodgers saga. Like, that's done. I would love to be in the meeting rooms there, Dave, and hear the message, because you got to believe, coming from Dan Campbell's meetings, he's taken a few pointers there. If there's anyone that has infused a toughness and a let's get to the ground and let's just grind someone into submission, Aaron Glenn would be able to echo those sentiments. Now, from a survivor standpoint, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at their week 7 game at home against the Panthers. I wouldn't mind that. Just, you got enough sample size. I don't know after the break. The only other one would be when they play the Browns, because you get the 2 weeks to prepare, right? You come out of the bye.
Yep.
Now that may be Shedeur Sanders territory at that point, because remember, I think the Browns have the bye the week prior. They're going to come back, or they may have the same bye week. Excuse me, and they may come off that, and that might be the quarterback change if they're where we think they might be. So that just kind of mapping out potential spots for the Jets, that would be my first two reactions there.
By the way, I love the point that you made with Aaron Glenn, because if you remember Dan Campbell's introductory press conference in Detroit, I know I laughed at it, right? We're going to bite the kneecaps. We're going to get knocked down. We're going to bite the kneecaps again on the way up and all that. And people kind of like, well, what is this? And it was the attitude that he was showing. Aaron Glenn, go back to his introductory press conference. I'm sure some people chafed at it. And I went, no, that's the living embodiment of Dan Campbell. And, oh, by the way, what do they have in common? Dan Campbell was a tight end. Aaron Glenn was a corner in New York. Former players. So you can call it whatever you want, locker room stuff. It's worked in Detroit. I think it probably will work eventually in New York as well. I like that from Aaron Glenn, that's for sure. I mentioned Circa Survivor. If you are in town to sign up for it, but you're not going to be in town for the entire year, you can use the proxy service to help you get those picks in. You want to play for free? How about this? At Circa, with the Million Contest or the Survivor, Winner's Circle Proxy is giving away one free $1,000 entry to each contest plus full proxy service. And you're going to be paired with a VSiN host for strategy all season long. Enter now for your chance to win. All you have to do is go to winnerscircleproxy.com/VSiN. That's winnerscircleproxy.com/VSIN. You and I talked about the ATL in hour number one. Remember, if you want to catch up on anything that you might have missed from Jensen and I so far in hour number one, go back and listen to every hour of VSiN By The Books. Wherever you get your downloads, wherever you get your podcasts, just download that and subscribe now. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber, and you can stay caught up with anything you might have missed. Hour number three, Adam Burke, Wes Reynolds. That's next here at VSiN By The Books.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.